welcome to this episode of the How to Choose Happiness and Freedom Show. I'm your host, Lauren Foster, happiness coach and founder of Be Happy First. I'm having weird technology things going on right now, so I'm hoping that everybody can hear me and that things are as they should be. So, welcome. We're wrapping up our week, our month on our dark month, if you will, on death and fear and resentment. And what I want to talk about today is some new information that I learned in a book called Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. And it's the way he's looking at the four essential neurotransmitters that dictate human emotion and sort of dictate the way this animal that we are operates in the world and how that applies to the whole philosophy of Be Happy First. So, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about resentment. Anyone who knows me knows that I really jealously protect my sleep. I won't have important meetings or anything that might be exciting or stimulating late in the day because I believe that your sleep is the second most important thing to your health, right after your food. The food that you eat and the sleep that you have are the 1 and 2 factors of how well you function as an animal on this earth. And so I jealously protect my sleep and control everything that I can. My devices are on do not disturb. My house is dark, dark, dark. I think about the temperature. I think about all of these things to ensure that I have a really great night's sleep. Well, in the middle of the night last night, my neighbor had a visitor, and of course my dogs go crazy barking, and of course that woke me up. That was not a nice. I can sleep through little things because I'm in a deep sleep, but a loud, if you've ever heard my dog Rocky bark, he will wake you up. So, and I can feel that I'm a little bit kind of foggy and a little bit off today because my sleep was interrupted, and I'm very tempted to be resentful of that. But, I made the choice. I don't know who that was. I don't know how important it was to my neighbor. I don't know anything except that that was 12 hours ago or, 10 hours, whatever. And it no longer gets to affect me in this moment unless I choose to let it. So this gets to be gone. This gets to go into the clarity of my future vision in that I will be in a place where cars can't drive past my house in the middle of the night and disturb my sleep. So anytime that anything shows up that you don't want, instead of pushing against it and adding energy to it and letting it become a part of your world, just let it be a contrast that gives you more clarity about what it is that you do want. And turn your attention, our topic next month, towards your vision of what you want in the future. All right, so the 4 neurotransmitters that are governing us as animals on this planet are the acronym is EDSO. So they're endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. So up until now, I have delivered a very strong message that you have to take care of yourself first. Otherwise, you will have nothing to give to other people. And I want to refine and revise that message a little bit with this new knowledge, always learning and growing, in that taking care of yourself is, of course, of utmost importance. Self-care, caring for your body, having good food, having good sleep, time alone, honoring your own wishes is incredibly important. However, we are herd animals. We're social animals. And our interaction with our family, with our loved ones, with our community and at large is also very important to our existence. So I'm going to change this up to say you do them all at the same time. That while you are honoring yourself and reaching your goals, we're going to delve into how each of the neurotransmitters plays into this. While you're honoring yourself and taking care of yourself, you are also taking advantage of all of the things that being part of a tribe, part of a community that is humanity, are also vital to your health and vital to the global success of us as a species. So the first is endorphins. And now I'm not a scientist or a neurologist or any of that, so all of the information that I share with you is very watered down and from a philosophical sort of standpoint. And so if you want to delve more into the science, go and read the book. We'll provide the link for you, or, research this yourself. But these are the general principles from the stance of a happiness coach. Got me? Okay, so endorphins have one purpose, which is to mask pain. And as our ancestors evolving on this planet, endorphins played a role of allowing us to run great distances in order to chase after a herd of animals all day to make the kill and have the stamina to come back. So we don't have to do that to get our food anymore. So this physical release of endorphins usually happens through exercise. And a lot of, elite athletes or athletes in general will crave their run, crave their activity because of this release of a feel-good hormone called endorphins that's there for our survival. So that this is what helps us to accomplish things and get things done. And it plays into the next one, which is dopamine. Now, dopamine is released when we accomplish things. So the example that Simon Sinek in his book Leaders Eat Last, that's the book that I'm referring to, the example that he used is that we know not to go to the grocery store when we're hungry because we're going to buy more than we need. We're going to buy things that we don't necessarily need, and we're going to make unwise choices at the grocery store. But then the question becomes, why would we ever go to the grocery store if we're not hungry? And dopamine is the reason for this. And this was so that when we were evolving on this planet, if we only went hunting and gathering when we were hungry, then we would find ourselves in trouble in times of, scarcity and lack, because it was a full-time job to make sure that we had gathered and hunted and put away and managed to obtain the food that we would need to last us through the times that those resources were not available. So this is where the reward for accomplishment comes in. And this is also the reason why when you write down a goal, you are way more likely to achieve it. So picture this, that you have a big goal that is, a year from now. And when you reach that goal, you're going to get this big hit of dopamine that will encourage you to create new goals and start again with getting that high from dopamine. Now, all along the way, you have smaller goals that lead you to that big goal. So you're getting constant dopamine hits, and our visual brains are keeping us striving toward that goal that we can see. And the example that he used in the case of our ancestors is that we see a tree in the distance that has lots and lots of fruit on it. And we're like, oh, this is very good for our sustenance. We want to move in the direction of that tree that we can see. And so the closer we get, the bigger that vision becomes in our minds, and the more our brains are releasing dopamine and making us feel good about this quest to get to this fruit tree. So then when we finally get there and we're there and we're required to have this extra rush of physical exertion in order to actually get into the tree and get the fruit down, we get that big dump of dopamine that's like, yeah, we reached our goal. And so these two chemicals are the selfish chemicals. These are the things that are ensuring our survival and allowing us to get our work done and feel a great sense of accomplishment personally for the things that we accomplish. So I'm hearing little sounds. Let's see what's going on over here. Oh, here we go. There's Tammy. Tammy, the name of the book is Leaders Eat Last, and the author is Simon Sinek. He's also the author of Start With Why. And actually, Tammy, I can share that link a little bit later. We'll share the Amazon link. So anyway, endorphins and dopamine are the selfish neurotransmitters. So if those were the only two that we have, we didn't have the serotonin and the oxytocin that we're going to talk about next, we would be cold-blooded, like reptiles, like crocodiles, that have no sense of that they're competing for the food that is there, and they have absolutely no care about whether the other crocodile that lost the battle over the carcass goes home hungry. There's no empathy. There's no sense of community. There's no sense of working together, because those don't, the serotonin and oxytocin don't exist in cold-blooded creatures. Now, social animals, herd animals like we are, we have serotonin and we have oxytocin. Now, serotonin is the chemical that gets released when we get a reward from an award, like a college graduation is a great example. So all we really had to do to get our college degree was to show up, pay our money, get the grades. There's no real reason for a graduation ceremony except that serotonin, this sense of having accomplished something amazing and raised our status among the other humans, and then also our parents, our teachers, all of the people who supported us and helped us on our way to getting this great award also receive a hit of this awesome feeling good serotonin. And so this is why we rank ourselves. This is why we seek out the approval of others. Now, back in the dopamine category is also where addictions come in: nicotine, alcohol, gambling, shopping. Our new addiction of being addicted to social media and getting, every time we get more likes on our Facebook page, that's a little hit of dopamine. So this is not necessarily in our favor that this happens. So that these can be, kind of insidious things that sabotage our lives. In the event of, a gambling addiction or a drink or, alcoholism or smoking, these we are like, oh, I have this damaging habit and here's why, and here's the harm that it's causing. Sometimes these addictions to social approval and, input from our social media can be addictions that sneak in on us. So a thing that you might want to ask yourself is, if the first thing you want to do when you wake up in the morning is look at your social media feed, this is an indication that this is an addiction that might not be serving you. And so, that knowing it, naming it is the first step towards putting it in the proper perspective. So serotonin is what, the Oscar winners are having a huge rush of serotonin, and they're thanking all of the people who helped them, who are also getting a big rush of serotonin. So acceptance and status and popularity, these are all things that come about in our human interaction in getting serotonin. And then finally, oxytocin. This is the love chemical. This is how we feel when we are interacting with the people we really love, our close friends, our family that we have tremendous bonds with, our lovers. This is why physical contact is so important. It's why little children want to be held by their mothers. It's why babies who are not held and touched and loved fail to thrive. And we're in a place in our world at the moment with the pandemic that a lot of, we're in danger of letting human touch go by the wayside out of fear. So we can't allow this to happen, people. So let's get ourselves strong and healthy and resistant to all of the germs that are out there, the flus, the viruses, the world is full of bacteria. We can't avoid it. What we can do is make ourselves strong, make ourselves happy, make ourselves resilient to these, and go back to this vital to our existence: touching one another, holding hands, shaking hands, hugging. All of these things are producing long-lasting effects. The effects of dopamine are instant gratification. The effects of oxytocin are long-lasting and build over time, and they come from giving trust and earning trust and developing deep bonds between one another. So how does this come into our month on death and fear and resentment? So death is inevitable and it's not something to be feared, but does that mean that it should be taken lightly and that life is not precious? No, it doesn't. So life and death are two different sides of the coin. And while death is inevitable, that doesn't mean that we don't treasure and value and cherish human life and do everything that we can to make sure that it's not only long, but it's also rich. And being happy will make you live 35% longer. That's also a statistic that's in this book. And Simon is another one that's very good at backing up his research and showing you the studies and showing you the biology behind all of these things. So you owe it to your longevity. If you hold life precious, the best thing you can do for your longevity is to get happy. And everything else kind of falls into place after that. And, when you wake up and go, you know what, I'm happy. I'm choosing to look for things to appreciate. I'm choosing to look for things to love. I'm choosing to look for things that make me feel good, then you're automatically extending your life and you're making better choices about everything. So I'm really looking forward to next month on intention and attention, where we'll delve more into that. All right, so Thursday we're going to talk some more about death and fear and resentment and wrap things up. I don't know exactly what we're gonna talk about on Thursday. I'll decide in the meantime. But for now, remember, happiness is a choice, and you can always choose to be happy first. I'll see you next week.